Every week, I talk to people who have done weeks of research on Gig Harbor, Washington. They've watched the videos, they've read the articles, they've seen the photos of the harbor and the boats and the mountains in the background, and they come to me with one question: is Gig Harbor actually worth it? And here's what I tell them: it depends on who you are. And nobody is giving you the information to figure that out. So that's what this video is. I'm Leanne Hall. I'm a Pierce County real estate consultant. I work in this market every day, and I'm going to give you the real answer, not the promotional version and not the glossy real estate brochure version, the actual answers you're looking for. The lifestyle that makes people say moving here was the best decision they ever made, or the trade-offs that make some of people quietly pack up and leave within 2 years. Let's get into it. Here's what most people think when they start researching Gig Harbor. They see this charming waterfront downtown with boutique shops, seafood restaurants. They see marina views and boats. Sometimes you even get to see that beautiful Mount Rainier in the horizon and the Olympic Mountains across the Sound. They read that it's safe, that the schools are great, that it's close to Tacoma and Seattle, and they think, this looks perfect. This is exactly where I want to raise my family or retire or escape the city grind. And here's the thing, for someone that actually went to high school here and grew up here, they're not wrong. All of that is true. But all of that is true is not the same as this is the right place for you. Because what the listicles and the top 10 videos don't tell you is this: Gig Harbor comes with a specific lifestyle package, and that package includes a big price tag, literally. And it's not right for everyone. There is the toll bridge that you will cross every single day if you go to work on the other side. There's a traffic pattern on Highway 16 that will reshape your morning for sure, and coming back from work. And there's a cost of living that is significantly above the national average, driven almost entirely by our housing community. And there's a pace and a vibe to this community that some people find deeply restorative and others find it quietly suffocating. I have watched people move here and they never look back. And I've watched people move here and realize it wasn't what they expected because nobody gave them the full picture. Today, I want to give you the full picture. I work in this market. I talk to buyers and sellers here every week. I know what people love about living here a year after they've moved, and I know what they wish someone had told them before they had signed that contract. I'm not here to sell you on Gig Harbor. I'm here to give you the information to sell yourself or save yourself from a decision that doesn't fit your life. Here's what we're covering today. First, what actually makes Gig Harbor special and why are people obsessed with living here? Then, the Narrows Bridge toll and Highway 16 commute reality with actual numbers. Let's talk about schools and family life in the Peninsula School District. The real cost of living, what that medium home price actually means for your budget, and finally, the honest downsides that most Gig Harbor content will never mention. If you're seriously looking in Gig Harbor, I have a free Gig Harbor neighborhood guide that breaks down all of this area, and I'll tell you how to get it as we go along. Let's start with the things that make people fall in love with this place. Let me start with why people come here in the first place, because it's real and it's worth understanding before we get into the trade-offs. Gig Harbor bills itself as the maritime city, and that's not marketing fluff. The downtown waterfront is generally one of the most beautiful small town harbor settings in Washington state. You've got working marinas, fishing boats coming in and out. We've got great waterfront restaurants. And on a clear day, which happens more than people actually think, you get to see Mount Rainier to the east and the Olympic Mountains across the Sound to the west at the same time. But here's what surprises most people who move here. It's not just beautiful, it's genuinely community-oriented in a way that feels increasingly rare during these days. Gig Harbor has a population of around 12,000 people in the city proper, but the broader peninsula area it serves is significantly larger, and what you get is a town where people actually know each other, where you run into your neighbors at the farmers market, where local events like the Maritime Gig Festival, I love the summer waterfront concerts. Great part is the Christmas boat parade. They actually draw the whole community, not just the tourists. Residents consistently describe it with words like, this is a safe town. It feels super welcoming. This is like the postcard picture town. It's a town that has collectively decided quality of life matters more than the hustle. Evenings wind down early and weekends are for the water. Here's what a typical week might look like if you live here. In the morning, you're definitely going to see in downtown people kayaking, paddleboarding, launching from Kopachuck State Park before work, or a run on Cushman Trail. In the afternoon, coffee in a downtown harbor cafe, maybe a grocery run up to Costco or Safeway in the Uptown district, and then a weekend hike at McCormick Forest. Or you'll see a ton of boaters out on the Puget Sound. Never forget Tide's Tavern. People love having dinner there and being out on the dock. In the summer, we have weekly farmers markets. We have that outdoor waterfront concerts, which you'll see all the neighborhoods setting their chairs up early so they make sure to get a seat. Sailing regattas you can watch from downtown or from your deck. And day trips. So when I'm thinking of things to do on the weekend, Mount Rainier is just about 90 minutes away. We've got the Olympic Peninsula versus the ferry. You can get to Seattle in under an hour if we don't have traffic. The outdoor access here is remarkable. We've got hiking, boating, kayaking, fishing, and skiing in the winter within a 2-hour drive. Gig Harbor sits at this perfect intersection of all of it. And for remote workers specifically, this is increasingly why people choose here. About half of our buyers in this market now, at least one person in the home is still working remotely. So Gig Harbor gives you this lifestyle that a downtown Seattle apartment can simply not do. The lifestyle in Gig Harbor is absolutely real. It's not overstated. People who move here for the right reasons, like outdoor, community, family, safety, they tend to stay. The homeownership rate here is about 77%, which tells you something about how people feel and about the place once they arrive. But none of this lifestyle is free. And the next thing we're going to talk about is the daily cost of accessing that. Because here's the part that shows up on your credit card statement every month, whether you think about it or not. And I want to make sure you've done the math before you sign a purchase and sale contract. Gig Harbor is a peninsula. And to get from the peninsula to Tacoma, the major employment corridors to SeaTac Airport to I-5, you cross the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. The eastbound bridge that you take leaving Gig Harbor every morning is a toll bridge. The westbound bridge coming home is free, so every time you commute to work, you pay. Here are some current numbers. So we have what's called a good to go pass. You can either put it up on your windshield, you can put it on your front plate. So with a good to go pass, it's about $4.50 to cross. Without a pass, you're paying $6.25 per crossing, and you get to go wait in that lovely line. In that line, you can pay with cash or card at the booth. I think it's $5.50 per crossing if you go to the booth. If you're not, it's at $6.25. If you commute 5 days a week, there's 50 weeks in a year. So with a good to go pass, that's $2,250 per year just in bridge tolls, just to get to work and back. Here's the good news. The bridge will become toll-free, or so they say. The Washington State Transportation Commission projects the bridge. Debt will be paid off and the tolls removed by June of 2032. If you're buying here with a 10-year horizon, that's a real financial benefit coming. But for the next several years, you got to budget for this. Now, the toll is the predictable part. The traffic is your variable. Highway 16 is our main highway that connects Gig Harbor to Pierce County's broader road network. During morning and evening rush hours, like that 7 to 9 a.m. eastbound and that 4 to 6 westbound, Highway 16 and the bridge approach can back up significantly. Gig Harbor's population has grown very rapidly, especially since COVID time, and the road infrastructure has not kept up with that perfect pace. What that means is if you work in downtown Tacoma, plan for like 20 to 35 minutes on a normal day, 45 minutes to an hour on a bad one. And if you work in Seattle, you're looking at 60 to 90 minutes, depending on I-5. Not impossible, but not that 15-minute commute some listings imply. Here's some practical advice. Before you tour a single home in Gig Harbor, go drive Highway 16. Do it during rush hour, maybe a Tuesday or Wednesday morning, not on a weekend, and see what the commute feels like for you, because this will be your daily reality if you work outside of the peninsula. For those of you that are remote workers, this section matters a lot less. For daily in-person commuters, it should be a significant factor in your decision. The bridge and the commute matter beyond the daily inconvenience because they affect your full lifestyle math. If you're paying a Gig Harbor premium on your house, and then you're also paying $2,000 plus in a year on tolls, and then you're factoring in the cost of time of your commute, the premium you're paying for this lifestyle is higher than the sticker price on the house. So know the full costs. Now, speaking of things that make families choose Gig Harbor over other Pierce County options, let's talk about what's happening inside the Peninsula School District, because for families with kids, this is one of the strongest arguments for living here. Let's talk about schools. So Gig Harbor High School, it's ranked 122nd in Washington. It's got that B+ overall grade. They have AP course participation. They're ranked in the top 25 in Washington for athletics. Peninsula High School's our other high school. They're a B+ grade as well, and they're ranked in that top 100 in Washington. They've got that 4-star school digger rating. They're consistently strong across academics and extracurricular. Kopachuck Middle School, it's ranked 5-star as well in that school digger rating. It's ranked 45th out of 534 middle schools in Washington. One of the top performing middle schools in Pierce County by a significant margin. Purdy Elementary and Harbor Heights Elementary are both in the top 150 elementary schools statewide. The district also has a gifted program, strong graduations in the rate of about 20% of the state. The combination of top-tiered public schools, low violent crime, outdoor access, and a genuinely family-oriented community culture is rare. Most markets make you choose between having either a great school or a beautiful setting. In Gig Harbor, we don't have to. If education quality and community safety are top 2 for you, Gig Harbor is going to be the very hardest thing to beat in Pierce County against any other area. I've put together a free Gig Harbor neighborhood guide that breaks down the Peninsula downtown area by Uptown, Fox Island, Rosedale, Artondale, and tells you what each neighborhood actually looks like and feels like. The link is going to be in my description, so feel free to send me an email. I'll send it over. It's absolutely free. Let me talk straight with you about the cost of living here, because the range of numbers you'll find online is all over the place, depending on the source. Here are some current figures that I think you're going to find most useful. The median home price in Gig Harbor right now is about $790,000. Our average sale price pulled upward by waterfront and view properties is closer to like $942,000 plus. And just for a little context, the national median home price right now is around $439,000. So Gig Harbor is roughly double the national median. If you're thinking you want to rent here first, the normal rent here is about $2,300 per month as of early 2026. So that's up about 1.9% from the prior year. A 1-bedroom averages about $1,700 per month, and a 3-bedroom is about $2,800 a month. Overall cost of living here, Gig Harbor runs approximately 20 to 23% above the national average, driven almost entirely by housing. Utilities run below national average, and groceries are about 5% higher. Here's how to think about this practically. If you're buying a home at $790,000 with 20% down, and you're looking at a $632,000 loan, let's just say at current rates, that's a monthly principal and interest payment in the range of about $4,000 to $4,500, depending on where rates land when you choose to buy, and property taxes and insurance and all that. So Washington State has no state income tax, and that's a real offset, especially if you're coming from California, Oregon, and any other income tax state. The savings can be meaningful. Property taxes in Washington are also below the national average at around 0.92% of assessed value versus like 1.11 nationally. And home insurance here is amongst the least expensive in the country. That comparison surprises most people. Bellevue's average home price is like $1.5 million. Kirkland is about $1 to $1.25 million. Gig Harbor's that $790,000. You're getting a waterfront community with top-rated schools, outdoor access at roughly half the price of Seattle. The math is not nothing. Here's the honest caveat. The household income in Gig Harbor runs around $115,000. You need to be above that level to comfortably afford ownership here. Dual income households find it much more manageable, but single income households below that will find it tight. Gig Harbor has consistently held value. It's a desirable, limited inventory market with strong fundamentals like waterfront access, the schools I talked about, low crime, and proximity. People who bought here 5 years ago have seen strong appreciation, and that long-term value case is solid. But solid long-term value doesn't help if you're stretching it to make that monthly payment work right now. Run the full numbers, the mortgage, the toll, the utilities, the childcare if applicable before you commit. Know your numbers and then decide. Okay, we've covered the best of what Gig Harbor offers. We've been honest about the commute, the bridge, and the costs. Now I want to spend a few minutes on the things that almost nobody covers. The honest downsides that determine whether is the right fit for you for this lifestyle. Why nobody talks about this? It's because most Gig Harbor people here have lived here forever and they love it, and therefore they have a bias towards it. Or by agents or developers who have a financial interest in you moving here. I have a financial interest as well for you moving here, but my long-term interest is much greater for being the right buyer in the right place, making the right decision, and being here knowing early on that this is really what you want. A buyer who moves here and loves it refers their friends. A buyer who moves here and regrets it disappears. So here are the honest things about Gig Harbor you should weigh before you commit. Downside number 1, nightlife and evening entertainment. This is a town that closes by 10, and I'm giving that a lot of cadence. There are wine bars, there's breweries, Gig Harbor Brewing, Seven Seas. They're generally great restaurants, but if you're coming from a city where Thursday nights include late night dinners, live music, and a show, you will notice the absence. Gig Harbor is built around daytime lifestyle and community events. Evenings are quiet by design. That's deeply attractive to some people, but it's a huge adjustment for those that are coming from the city. Downside number 2, it's got limited diversity. It has Croatian and Scandinavian heritage roots because it came from a fishing village history. So not a lot of ethnic food options. If you're coming from like a multicultural urban environment, you'll notice that Gig Harbor does not have the same. Some residents mention this openly as one of the things they'd love to change about it. Downside number 3, it's got growing pains with traffic and development. Gig Harbor's popularity is both a gift and a challenge. The city's growing faster than some of its infrastructure, so downtown traffic on summer weekends can be pretty congested. Downside number 4 is that limited public transit. So if you come from a big city or used to walking or train, this is definitely a car-dependent community. We definitely have buses that run, but it's pretty limited. And downside number 5, for me, this is the biggest one, the weather. Western Washington's gray sky season runs from about October through April. So Gig Harbor gets the same overcast, persistent drizzle that characterizes the Pacific Northwest winter. Our annual rainfall is comparable to cities like New York or Atlanta. It's not as rainy as people imagine, but the lack of sunlight for extended period of times is real. Here's the bottom line. Gig Harbor is absolutely worth it, especially if you're buying for that outdoor lifestyle, safety, great schools, a community feel, and a long-term real estate fundamental. If you've done your math on the commute, you've run the cost of living on the numbers and accepted that this is a quiet, we close early, call-dependent, outdoor-focused community, this is the perfect place for you. It's not worth it if you need that urban energy, diverse nightlife, short commutes without tolls, and your budget requires you to kind of contain it a bit more. This may not be the place for you. I've never had a client who was the right buyer for this town regret moving here. I've had a few who weren't the right fit, and they knew it within a year. The goal of this video is to make sure you know it before you move, not after. Let's bring this all home. We covered 5 things today that I think actually answer the question on whether is Gig Harbor worth it. We talked about the lifestyle and the community vibe, that small town feel. We talked about the Narrows Bridge, some of the costs that it might be for you. We talked about that rush hour commute, how the traffic might play into your daily role, and we talked about schools and family life in the peninsula. And of course, we talked about the real costs of living here compared to some of the neighboring areas. Here's what I want you to walk away with. The question isn't whether Gig Harbor is a good place to live. It is. The question is whether, is this the right place for your life, your budget, and your priorities. And now you have the information to answer that honestly, which is more than most people have when they make this decision. If you're the right buyer for Gig Harbor and you know this after watching this video, I want to tell you something. The people who move here for the right reasons tell me very consistently it's exceeded their expectations. They feel this community is tighter than they would have thought. They love the outdoor accessibility and the pace is restorative. Gig Harbor tends to overdeliver on that lifestyle promise for the people it's right for. You just did the work to figure it out if you're that right one. So if you want to walk through your specific situation, maybe your budget, your commute requirements, or maybe some things about your family priorities, drop me a comment, reach out to me directly. My contact information is up in the description. I answer questions, I'm a real person, and I'd rather help you find the right fit than sell you the wrong one. Hit subscribe if you want more of this kind of content. I'm honest, I live here locally, and I try to give you useful information, or I think it is. Drop a comment and tell me what surprised you most about what we covered today. I'm Leanne Hall. I'll see you in the next one.